Hi folks, thanks for being in this group for the Yorkshire Three Peaks. If you are interested in what makes the Yorkshire Three Peaks challenging and how to structure your training to deal with those challenges, this video is for you. And we're going to discuss both of those two aspects in brief today. Happy to pull out any questions you've got around those two aspects and discuss them either in the comments or pop me a direct message, DM, or indeed an email to Jeff with a G, the only way of spelling it, Jeff with a G at focusedperformance.co.uk. So Jeff at focusedperformance.co.uk. There we go. Okay, so what makes it hard? It's the ups and the downs, and it's as simple or as complex as that may indeed sound. Because the Yorkshire Three Peaks are three individual mountains, unlike a lot of challenges that involve hills or mountains, and they are, in fact, there's an argument to say that the etymology of the word and the phraseology of the Yorkshire Three Peaks makes them hills, when in actual fact, technically, they are mountains based on their altitude profile. But anyway, I'm drifting again. Tangential conversations. Here we go again, Jeff. So they are three individual peaks, unlike a lot of challenges in the hills, which lead you to ranges of mountains. In other words, mountains connected by high level paths, trails, or ridges. Some may drop, but generally speaking, you maintain a level of altitude. In other words, you don't have to go all the way down, come all the way back up multiple different times. So in my event, the Welsh 3000s, 15 3,000 foot mountains, I didn't climb up 3,000 foot 15 times. I did do 10,000 feet of ascent, but the Yorkshire Three Peaks is not like that. It comes in just over 5,000 feet of ascent, so it's stiff. What a lot of people don't necessarily understand, or it's understood, but the impact on the body is less understood, is that also means there's an equitable amount of descent. And unless you are lucky in where you live or live near, the descent can be much harder to train for. And so I'll come back to that bit in the second part of this, but we're still on the first, what makes them challenging. So it's the fact that they're individual standalone mountains times 3. That's the first bit. It's the fact that means the ascent, 5,000 and a bit feet, and the similar descent cause significant muscular wear and tear. And if you had that DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness feeling in the next day after an event, the morning of the next day after an event, you'll know what muscular wear and tear feels like. So there's that aspect. We're not going to touch on these, but they're still valid in the second part, but they're still valid for the first part. Nutrition, how you've put energy in both pre and on the day, whether you're walking or running, by the way, I'm talking about in this bit. Carb loading is your friend. Carb load before the event, and may I urge you to taper for it too. Yeah, Jeff, I'm just walking it, mate. Yeah, but do you want to walk it in comfort, and do you want to be able to walk for a few days after it, or do you want to run the risk of not doing it? Well, I would suggest that tapering, in other words, a runner's term here, in other words, do absolutely sweet FA before the event, a good week before, and try to do that for about 10 to 12 days beforehand. The more training you do, generally, the longer that taper should be, I would urge, because your body will be taxed higher and your fatigue will be greater if you train a lot. So do less for longer, if that makes sense, if you train a lot before that Yorkshire Three Peaks attempt. Second part, what do we do about that? How do we tackle those challenges? Well, challenge number 1, 2 and 3 were all about individual mountains, so height gain and descent, accumulation. So you can train for the mountains, in the mountains or in the hills, anywhere. You just need to identify a discrete hill or an ascent that you can go up and you can come down. The terrain isn't rocky. It's a little bit rocky stepped off Whernside, and there's a rocky ascent up Pennegant in Yorkshire, but for the most part there's a staircase, quite a steep precipitous staircase if you were ascending Ingleborough from Chapel le Dale. So you'll have to tackle that if you're doing the route in reverse, although not many people do that, but having done it I can tell you that feels like. So the ascent and the descent should be trained for. If you can get something with steppy, you know, like a stone staircase, a mountain like that, that would be your best training, especially in descent. If you can do a route near you, or perhaps in Yorkshire, you might want to try Whernside, particularly a great challenge mountain there. It's the highest, but it gives you those steps, and just watching yourself coming downhill, really. A lot of people aren't used to it. The best way to develop prep for an event like that is to do something similar. It's not the only option, but it's a good one. What else can you do to tackle those things? Well, you can get out, and today I'm on a canal path, as you can see, and you can get out and do stuff like this. How? Well, if you're walking, you can just speed up. It's as simple as that, because there's no hill gradient here. I can't test myself. I could find a hill. There's one just over there. It's not very big. It's under 100 meters in height, 88 I think, but I could push up and down that multiple times. Well, how does that benefit if the hill I'm doing is 600-700 meters? It'll benefit you because you can do that repetitively. In other words, do hill reps, walking or running. The training is, apart from the speed and the style of movement, the training is the same. So walking or running, hiking or running, you can go up and down a hill. May even be a road hill. Doesn't have to be, as I described earlier on, with the steps and so on. But I'm just going to swap hands. So yeah, so you could do that. That works really well, and that will get some training in that is relatively suitable for your legs. It's all about building up a base, an endurance base, a stamina base, building up a repertoire in your muscles. It's nothing to do with muscle memory, but it's your muscles do the action, your brain records it and works out, or perhaps not records, but your brain analyzes it. So feedback from the muscles, you can determine whether or not the level of fatigue is rising, lowering, it's greater than it's previously expected, what to do about energy input into the muscles. The brain is the computer behind the system, and that's, let me just work out where I'm going. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going down a big steep hill here. So the brain will work out and determine what it needs to deliver to the muscles, and also how much waste is being put back through them. These muscles are quite crafty. They reuse waste. You've heard of lactate, probably. It's that. So hopefully this has been useful. Hopefully you've got some insight. I'm sorry, I'm just looking where I'm going. You've got some insight from what I've shared there. It's basic stuff, but I always find the basic stuff works out best. It can deliver you quick and easy results, whereas the more complicated training sometimes, especially if you're new to either walking or running, isn't always the best place to start. So have a little look at that, have a little replay this again, share it with anyone by all means that you think will find it useful, and I hope that it has been beneficial to you. Catch you soon, folks. Bye now.